there's no rational reason for us not to have brought in a midfielder. There isn't. We can dress it up and we can make an excuse and we can, you know, try and justify it in certain ways. But ultimately, the club have shit the bed. FSG have shit the bed. And the big question is, and this is, I think, what it all boils down to. If we don't get investment or they don't sell off part of the club between now and the summer, is there anybody, and this is the first question, I guess, of the night, maybe Mark can put up a poll on this one, is there anybody in our audience right now watching, from whatever part of the world you're living in, and I hope that you're well, is there anybody believes genuinely, if we don't take on investment, that the 250 mil will be there for Klopp in the summer? Because I don't. And I don't believe it for the simple reason that if the money was coming from anywhere else other than possible investment, I believe that the money should have been available to bring in a midfielder right now. So I think this is a conscious decision from FSG not to open up the wallet, not to release money, and to bank on releasing that equity or some cash flow for the summer. Now, that's the only thing I can put it all together in my head and just come up with any type of rationale behind it. Otherwise, I can't see the rationale behind not bringing in a midfielder in this window. I just can't. Other than them just being miserly tight gits. And look, this goes out to somebody who... I want people who are defensive of FSG. I want people who are in the FSG in camp to just answer me that question. If we don't take on investment, do you believe that John W. Henry, Tom Werner and FSG will hand Jurgen Klopp £200 million or more in the summer to spend? And if the answer to that is yes, you do believe it, then why wasn't it released in the winter window? Because look, I do understand that some players are overpriced. No argument about that. Moses Caicedo, in my opinion, is very, very overpriced. I'm not saying he's not a good player. I'm not saying he wouldn't fit in well at Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal or anywhere else. But what I'm saying is Brighton turning down an offer of £70 million for somebody who has only really been a mainstay of the team for a relatively short time is ridiculous. Chelsea having to go and pay a British transfer record 105 point whatever it is million pound to facilitate that move for Enzo Fernandez is, in my opinion, massively overpaying for somebody that was brought in from River Plate for about €10 million a season beforehand. These are things that, whatever we think, we do have to be mindful of value. And I don't think that Enzo Fernandez deserves to become the most expensive footballer in English football history to come into the league. I don't think that's justified. This video is being sponsored by our friends at Surfshark. Now, you've probably heard people talking about VPN providers a lot, and I'm going to explain to you why it's a plus and why hopefully you should go with our friends at Surfshark. So Surfshark is an app or browser extension that allows you to look at the internet entirely anonymously and unlock the world's largest Netflix libraries, the likes of the USA and Japan. It also keeps you safe and secure from hackers. Let's imagine you're out and about, you're having a cup of coffee, you're in college, you're in the pub, something like that. They use industry-leading measures, uncrackable encryption, and the most secure VPN protocols to keep you safe and secure while you're having a look on the internet. Also, one subscription will run across all of your devices, meaning that there is no need to look elsewhere. One subscription, you got your phone covered, your laptop covered, whatever it is that you need. Surfshark is really easy to install as well. And right now, you can get an amazing 85% off and 3 months additional free by using our link in the description and the code Anfield Agenda at checkout. That is 85% off and 3 months additional free, meaning it works out at less than $2 a month. Now, this offer runs until the end of this year only, so if you're looking for a VPN provider, look no further. Our friends at Surfshark have got you covered. Liverpool's average age of their starting 11 is the 4th oldest in the Premier League. So Liverpool are averaging just over 28 years of age for their starting 11 players this season in the Premier League. And a few years ago, we were right at the other end of that table. But now there's only Spurs, West Ham and Fulham with an older average starting 11 age than Liverpool have. Arsenal right up at the very other end of that with the youngest starting 11 average in the Premier League, and they're winning the league. So Again, it just shows that that lack of investment has meant we now have an aging squad, and a squad that, apart from not being capable in some players, particularly midfields, to do the jobs that Klopp needs them to do, we've just allowed to go stale, and we've stagnated somewhat. And even on Mo, right? And next, you know what? I'll move on to Mo in a little while. Liverpool as a club are shipping, as in we are conceding 1.32 goals every game this season, which is the joint worst ratio since Klopp's first term at the club. I'm almost certain I pulled this from The Athletic, by the way. So again, credit to The Athletic for this. You go read the full article yourself if you are so inclined, or if you have an Athletic subscription. So again, unlike others, hello everybody else in the world, I credit people. So yeah. The issue is even starker when it comes to expected goals conceded. Liverpool are now expected to concede 1.46 goals per game, the highest ever under Jurgen Klopp. So whatever metric you want to use to judge our performances, attacking, defending, age-wise, everything, we're at the wrong end of it. So it's undeniable that we need reinforcements and we need to get a younger group of footballers in. That's not even up for debate. So the only question that is up for debate is, why hasn't it been done in this market in January? That we all really know the answer to, let's be honest. The answer is that they don't want to use their own dough, and they aren't going to access the funds unless somebody else comes in to buy Liverpool or buy part of Liverpool, and they will then maybe use some of those funds. That's the truth of it. Any other way to dress this up, I think, is just bullshit and lies. So that's where we are. That's where we are right now. And another very valid question that people are asking is, if we have invested so much, which we have, in the medical side of things, in the sports science, and the nutrition, and all of this other stuff, how the fuck are we picking up so many muscle injuries and knocks and niggles relentlessly? And it's non-stop. Something has to give here. Because we're not talking about Ibrahim Konate as an example. We're not talking about a man who was, 28, 29 years of age. We're talking about a young lad, only at the beginning of his football career, really. And he's out again with another knock. It's clearly a huge change in spending in the Premier League now. FSG showed that they're not willing to keep up. Yeah, but it is just that, though. If I can just come back and make fun face, it is just that they're not willing. That's the key part in this for me. Because it's not that we don't have the ability. Because remember, turned over the third highest amount in world football. Our wage bill is at about 63% of turnover. The industry standard is 70 or below. So we're fine. We could access the money. We could take on a little bit more expenditure. We're in absolutely no trouble with FFP in any way, shape or form, or even close to it. So it is that. It is just an unwillingness to spend, not an inability. And that's the difference. If we had owners and Liverpool Football Club genuinely couldn't take on any debt or improve, I think we'd understand it a bit more. But that's just pie in the sky nonsense. Jens said, FSC have done so much for Liverpool, why so critical? Okay, sometimes, Jens, my friend, you've got to pick your battles, and you've got to pick the timing of when you put in comments like that. So I understand you're phrasing that as a question trying to bait me into a rant. And I understand also that, yes, they're no Glazers, don't get me wrong, but one thing you Manchester United fans can never, ever, ever, ever accuse the Glazers of is not giving you transfer funds. You can't label that at them. For all the shit that can be labelled at them, releasing money to buy players has not been an issue because they have spent a lot of money. So, yes, FSG aren't evil personified, but they are also a hedge fund, an investment fund that are here to sell the asset in the long term and make money from it. They're not here to fulfill a childhood ambition of running a football club or because they have a burning desire to see Liverpool succeed. They're here because of money. So, yeah, they're not the worst owners in the world, mate. I grant you that one. But when you see your manager, a once-in-a-generation manager for us Liverpool fans, constantly with a net spend between 20 and 30 million quid That's not good enough for a club that wants to challenge for European, Premier League and domestic honours on a regular basis. It just isn't good enough. Like, if our recruitment team had shit the bed on the transfers they'd made over the years and we didn't bring in players who would work, maybe I'd understand it a little bit. But if there's one thing that I think even opposition fans will credit Liverpool with, it's that our scouting and the players we've unearthed and brought in for realistic fees have done really, if anything, we've overperformed in the transfer market. So I think FSG should be praised for putting the right people in to make those right decisions and them going well. But that doesn't mean that they get to be tighter or more cheapskates, because these same set of principles or this same belief that we're the cleverest guys in the room, that's gone now. We are no longer the smartest guys in the room. We are just in the room at the minute. So yeah, I also do understand that they bought the club thinking that FFP was going to be enforced. That's, we can't get away from that, but it isn't. And that's another reason why, if you don't feel the landscape is right for FSG to spend money because you can't compete, you don't feel that you can compete against the Todd Bowleys, the Manchester Cities, the Newcastles, the Glazers, or whomever, then that's even more of a reason to, sell. Because you're going to get, 15x your investment back? More, probably. So, whatever way I look at it, they either admit that they've taken it as far as they can and they can't push us any further because of their business model, but they're not giving us anything, man. They're just silence.